Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, I'm joined by an incredible woman. I call her the Rosa Parks of the 21st century because it took a woman down in Alabama, in Montgomery, to say, you know what, I'm not obeying. You're not going to tell me that I'm less than anyone else. And she made a stand that enables someone like me to be able to enjoy all the rights, freedoms, and liberties that we have in the United States of America. And that's exactly what Shelley Luther is doing. Shelley is just a school teacher who turned into a business owner. She is the daughter of an American veteran, and I think that's where she got that fight in her, and that's why she is a patriot. She is a true descendant of the sons and daughters of liberty. Shelley, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, I tell you, you have become an instantaneous star, maybe the bane of existence for some people, but you have made a stand. And one of the things that I have been talking about and harping on is that I don't think these elected officials have the enumerated power or the right to be able to make the decision about who or what is essential or non-essential, and to tell business owners and people that their livelihoods have to be shut down. And that's what you're fighting against. So tell us your story.
Well, basically, we got shut down. Everybody knows, but the salons got shut down about March 22nd. And of course, we shut down like everybody else did. And we were hoping to get all of this government money that was promised to us to help us out. And so I didn't have my stylist paying me anything at all because we were shut down, of course. And so they kept pushing back the goalposts on when we were going to open. And I mean, after a few times of doing that, I just woke up one day last week and said, I'm going to open the salon. So I did.
Yeah, it's incredible because I remember when, Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins and you and I had a good exchange about him before we came on air. He made that decision that initially was going to be a couple of weeks. And I think that the American people understood. We were told we had to flatten the curve and all of this. But 2 weeks now has turned into a month and a half.
Right.
You have some governors that are continuing on. And even here in the state of Texas, we have Governor Abbott who is making the decision that, well, this 25% is okay, or this business is okay. Mm-hmm. How does that sit with you and all of these small business owners who are watching your pursuit of happiness, your livelihood be threatened?
Well, I mean, like you said, I kind of have the tenacity to pick myself back up and be able to be okay. But I've got 19 hairstylists underneath me that aren't paying their mortgage, can't feed their kids, and coming to me for help. And being Mama Bear, I didn't want to be the reason why they could not work. And so I put it back onto the city and said, I'm just going to open. Y'all are the ones that are going to have to shut me down. But I refused to. So all of it has been really, really tough on everyone. But fighting back feels kind of good.
Well, it is. And that's what America is all about. Now, you said something that was interesting. We heard about all of the stimulus money and the PPP. I found it quite humorous that you had people like the Los Angeles Lakers who were getting cash payments, but yet, of course, they gave it back. But were you able to get any payment whatsoever through this government stimulus?
Here's what's strange. I put in my application for the PPP loan immediately, like day one. I mean, I was on top of everything as quickly as possible. And I didn't hear back from anybody. And it's strange that I'm kind of causing a scene, and it ended up funding in my account yesterday or the day before.
Well,
it's how that works.
Yeah, well, I think they say that squeaky wheel does get the oil. But even still with that, I don't think that's what you want to do. I don't think you want to sit back and wait for the government to fund you. You just want to get open. And especially when you talk about a salon, talk to us about the regulations and the rules that you have to abide by, because I find it interesting that a Lowe's or a Home Depot or grocery stores can be open, but the level of sanitation and cleanliness that you have to maintain, I kind of believe is a little bit higher.
Oh, absolutely. Cosmetologists actually have 1,500 hours of sanitation training, just hygiene and sanitation only. So their everyday life and how they operate is revolves around sanitation. Not only that, we have like an entity that kind of inspects and watches over them, and they can get fined and get their licenses pulled just for something being unsanitary on their station, you know, if someone comes in. So it's crazy to me that you can walk into any of those stores, and I'm not saying they're filthy by any means, but they're definitely not sanitary, with people touching things on the shelves, putting them back. There's no one observing those things and making sure that they're clean. But heaven forbid, you know, someone used completely sanitized scissors with completely sanitized hands on someone's hair is just beyond me.
Yeah, and I think that that brings us to the incredible point. We know that COVID-19 is a 99.6% recovery rate. And we know that the most vulnerable demographics are the elderly and people who suffer from hypertension, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, those type of things. So you would think that you as an adult, a business owner, could be given guidelines and you should be able to mitigate those risks. So tell us, what are some of the things that you are doing right now, reopening, to mitigate some of those risks and concerns?
Right. So they haven't given any guidelines because we're not supposed to be open yet, but using common sense just to make sure the community feels safe and my hairstylist feels safe, and I have a nail tech too. We're having every single person that enters the salon to wear a mask, like no questions asked, you must wear one. And they haven't even proven whether that's good or bad or not, but just for the perception of everything, we're wearing a mask. Everyone has to sanitize their hands upon entering the salon in case they touch anything. And I took away all the magazines, all the drink stations, anything that could be universally touched. So we're also doing a line of chairs outside, 6 feet apart. So no one's waiting in the waiting room. It's only when the stylist is ready, we bring each person in one-on-one. And in my salon, I'm very fortunate because my stations are already, 6 feet apart. So we don't need a partition or anything like that. So I don't think that we could follow, besides all of the sanitation in between, which we already do anyway. I don't think there's anything more that we could do to be more safe. But I'll tell you, the pet groomer next door has been open the entire time.
You knew exactly where I was going. How can it be that the pet groomer is open, but yet you're not allowed to do that with citizens? And so again, how do you think that they came up to this magical formula solution that these businesses, these guys can open, but yet you all can't? Has Clay Jenkins or anyone contacted you to try to explain their rationale?
No, the only, if you want to say communication I've gotten from Clay Jenkins is when he hid behind 2 city ordinance girls and made them give me a cease and desist letter to close down, not this past Friday, but the one before. But that's the only direct communication I've had from him. He's never tried to call me, never tried to communicate, work anything out. Now on Governor Abbott's side, I will say that he has connected me with James Huffines, and I've spoken with him and also his communication director multiple times on how we can get salons open a lot faster. So to me, I don't agree with his initial decision of not opening salons, but at least his lines of communication are open and he's willing to listen. With Clay Jenkins, he's just kind of like, no, this is my way or the highway, and it's because I said so.
Yeah, he's been a despot.
Right.
One of the things that I argue is that if elected officials can instantaneously take something away, then why do they believe that they have to incrementally return it back to what it was? And so, how do you feel about that? Someone just makes a decision that your business has to be shut down. And then they're going to come back and say, well, let's just take these baby steps instead of saying, we trust you to be able to reopen your business.
Well, honestly, it's discrimination to me, because you can't say one business is safer than the other when you've never been in it and lump them all in one category to begin with. We have an agency that kind of governs and inspects our salons. If they don't trust them, then you need to do something about that agency, because all the other stores don't have that. But honestly, it's just, I guess in Houston, the strip club opened, so I guess now you can get a lap dance, but you can't get your hair cut. All of it is just beyond me. You can get Botox and fillers, certain massages, where they're rubbing all over the person, but you still cannot get your hair cut. It's just baffling.
Yeah, and I think that is what gives you the moral high ground. It's just the same as in the state of Michigan, where the governor there, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, says that the marijuana stores are open, but you can't go and get seed and plants to do work in your garden.
Tomatoes, you can't plant tomatoes.
Yeah,
Well, I
but you
think
can
I heard in
smoke.
California that the governor gave a list of things you're allowed to do. One
Yeah,
of them was watch a sunset. He's giving permission for you to watch the sunset.
but you can't do it on the beach.
Right.
So
Just
I
can't.
know,
I'm just,
I know
yeah,
you can't make this up.
no.
And I think that again works against these elected officials because there seems to be no rhyme or reason. But let me ask you this, because you know that there are people out there that will say, Shelley, you're selfish. Shelley, you're putting my life at risk. You know, you shouldn't be doing this. What do you say to people that are trying to tell you that you don't have the right to be able to run your business as you see fit?
Well, I say a couple things. My least favorite phrase that people say is, "I can't believe you think a haircut is worth someone's life." And I'm like, yeah, that's totally not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter if the people are picking up trash or singers or whatever. That's essential to them. However they make their income and how they provide for their family, that's where essential comes in, not whether or not you need it. Now let's go even a little further. We have some ladies that have disabilities or they're older. They can't wash their own hair. They come into the salon every week and get their hair washed and done because they cannot physically do it themselves.
Mhm.
So that makes us essential. And the second thing I would want to say is if you don't want to come, stay home. No one, that is your right to stay home. If you want to, no one's stopping you. But for those of us that want to work and get back to life, let us do it.
You know, it's amazing because the people that are saying those things to you don't seem to understand that, you know, we have made a problem incredibly worse than the original issue that we faced. We're looking at 2 million Texans that are out of work. We're looking at the decimation of our oil industry. We're looking at so many second and third and fourth order effects, the domestic abuse, child abuse, the suicides that are going up. In Montgomery County, they have more suicides than they have COVID-19 deaths. So when you hear people make that equivalency of, you know, you're not caring about lives, I think the most important thing is that people should understand their fears or whatever should not cause you to adjust your life. And I
Right.
don't think that you're trying to do anything that puts anybody's life in jeopardy, but yet you're seeing your own livelihood being put in jeopardy.
Well, absolutely. And one of the other main reasons why I opened the salon is my hairstylists were contacting me saying, you know, do you think we should go to so-and-so's house and I'm like, no, please do not do that because you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. You don't know how sanitary that area is and you don't know where that person's been or, you know, I can at least control the environment in the salon and make sure I do as much as possible to make sure that people walking in are following the proper protocol and that I'm cleaning and sanitizing the floors and the chairs and things every single night. At least I can feel safe about that. It's not safe if they're going to people's houses, which I guarantee over 50% of cosmetologists are doing underground work right now because the government has forced their hand to do so. And that's going to create a problem.
And it already has. I mean, in Laredo, Texas, you had 2 young Hispanic girls
Right.
that were arrested because they were doing nails and eyebrows in their house, you know, and they were fined $2,000 on top of now looking at going to prison for 6 months because people did not think of their lives and their livelihoods. So
Right.
what's the next step for Shelley Luther?
Well, the next step is with the city is suing me and I have a temporary restraining order against my business. And of course, that cease and desist order from my favorite Clay Jenkins. So tomorrow we have a Zoom trial that I have to appear in. I've got a really hardworking attorney that's been just so awesome for me, but a lot of money is obviously going into this. But that's okay. If I get to prove my point and keep my business open, I'm fine with it. And I have a lot of support that I'm very appreciative of. But tomorrow is the court date to determine if the temporary restraining order is valid. And if they deem that it is, then I can receive some sort of sanctions or punishment. But I will say in the first court hearing that we had with the temporary restraining order, they presented it to my attorney and didn't give him any time at all to prepare. They're supposed to give him at least 2 hours. And the judge did not give him any time. He could not build a case against it or anything. And they just put it right into place immediately, which they're not allowed to do. They already had their mind made up of what they were going to do.
Shelley, did you ever think, I'm 59, and I'm not going to ask you how old you are because you don't do that, but I would have never thought at any point in time in my life in America that I would see exactly what we are witnessing and living through right now. Did you ever think that this could happen in your America?
No, this is the craziest thing because honestly, I didn't know the impact that this would have. I honestly was just thinking of my hairstylist and kind of being a mama bear and saying, look, I'm just going to open it, not even knowing that it would cause this tidal wave of all of these people standing up and calling me a patriot and a hero. That's so weird to me because it's not what I wanted, but now that I have that responsibility, I'm willing to take that on.
Well, America was founded by men and women who were just ordinary people, but they did extraordinary things. And you're doing something that is extraordinary when you could have just, rolled over and allowed them to dictate to you how you would live your life. But that's not who we are in this great nation. So where can people follow you? How can people support you? And where can we send our prayers?
Thank you. Well, our salon is in North Dallas. It's called Salon a la Mode. And if you're in the area, you're more than welcome to call and make an appointment. Everything's on our Facebook page. You're more than welcome to message me on my Facebook page, Shelley with an EY at the end. I try to answer all of them because I'm so it's hard, but I'm so appreciative of everything. And honestly, I have a GoFundMe page, but what I want to say is, how can you help me the most? Just open your business. Please they can't put us all in jail. And if we all stand up together, and this is not a Republican, Democrat, black, white, green, yellow age, it doesn't matter. We are all born with rights. And if we stand up and say, this is not okay, hopefully it won't happen again, at least not in our lifetime.
Well, Shelley, in the words of Benjamin Franklin, we must all hang together or we shall hang separately.
That's
so
right.
God bless you. And thank you, Shelley. I look forward to seeing you this coming Saturday down at Dealey Plaza.
Can't wait. So nice to talk to you.
My pleasure. Take
Bye.
care now. Bye.